Hey Thomas, how are you?
I'm good, Mike.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah. We started this once before, but we were having some
Right.
technical difficulties.
Take
So we,
two.
we
Yeah.
yeah, so we're skipping on over to move on. But anyway, this week, on the first last Nerdom, we are going to be looking at a sci-fi post-apocalyptic or a far distant future tale called Young E underscore E. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but that's what I'm going to go with.
Uh,
And anyway, and before when we started, I was asking you, hey, how did you come across this? And you were telling about how you came into
Discovered it.
contact with it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bad thing about Netflix movies and shows. And it's true for all of the streaming services. Basically, they just kind of shove the stuff out there, promote like a maybe a tenth of their content, but the rest of it just gets thrown out there. And who knows? Even if you're interested in that director or writer or whatever actor, you don't know what's out there. But yeah, the I was thumbing through Facebook in the digital sense, and one of my followers, a writer, John Skip, that I love and been reading for a long time. He's the one of the creators of, or the one of the people that started the splatterpunk movement in horror. He recommended it highly,
Okay.
and yeah, and I when looking into it, I found out he was the guy that directed this movie, was also the director of Train to Busan, which I love. It's a great zombie movie, one of the best in the past, say 5 years
Oh wow.
to come out. Yeah.
High praise. All right. Well, let me go ahead and turn on the screen here, and then we can get into the thing. But first, I just want to take a quick stroll as Thomas gives that intro for this week. We just want to remind everybody that we are on YouTube, the first, the
Hmm.
last, and the Nerdom. We are well steaming our way past 100 episodes. I think this is 103 or something like that,
Hmm.
something along those lines. And we're not doing too bad. We're not doing too bad. We have quite a backlog of videos.
Yeah.
It's been a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
was
fun.
looking. I was looking. Someone was kind of talking about. We talked about him on a previous grab bag. DSP, the lolcow, the cringe guy. They were reviewing his channel, and they showed his social blade, and it was a C minus. And I was like, "Hey, we're a C. We're doing better than."
We're we're moving on up, slowly but surely. But yeah, we come at you. We cover the wide world of nerddom, particularly around. We kind of rotate through main tent poles, so to speak, as we go around the maypole, whatever you want to call it, horrible analogy. But
Mhm.
we'll just stick with it. But sci-fi, comic books, even dipping our toe into anime and manga here from time to time. Very small bit horror as well. There's a lot of overlap, but we are full steam ahead. But this one was very interesting that you picked. And as soon as I heard sci-fi and whatnot, I've had pretty good luck with. I'm not going to say I've ever seen absolutely amazing, stupendous, mind blowing, quality on Netflix for sci-fi. But it's such a good genre when it's done right and it's done well. You can be entertained for sure. And this one was interesting. This is
Mhm.
it was good. It was so I was going to read the synopsis here real quick to basically, okay, post-apocalyptic near future, AI. They're using AI, and
Mhm.
there's a war hero who she's just like the ultimate friggin' soldier
Mhm.
and some things, and she was supposed to like win the war or whatever on a pivotal day, and she got in this thing where her family, her daughter, had inoperable, horrible disease that she couldn't fix, but some way, some kind of how, this, and I'll kind of like, I'll stop there. But that kind of sets us up for like this AI. Basically, they're recreating this hero soldier as like AI, and they
Yeah.
keep running through trying to perfect it.
Yeah.
And there's like two states there. They're battling anyway. I'll let you go from there.
Yeah,
Um,
they're basically trying to perfect the human mind. So there was
right,
a
artificial, right?
flaw. Yeah, that uh there's like so basically, yeah, post-apocalyptic world. Um the uh atmosphere, well, the sea was rising because of
That's
yeah,
right. The
yeah,
seas
yeah.
are kind of gone or
Uh-huh.
on their way out,
Uh-huh.
making this like a hellscape for humans.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, the whole weather thing that everybody's complaining about. But yeah, so yeah, the earth becomes kind of inhospitable.
right,
So they start moving out into colonies in space, and then there was a section of those colonies that decided that they wanted to lord over the other colonies and earth, and so there's a battle that started. And Young-E was one of the soldiers that came out as a hero during the war. She almost ended the war, but had in this ultimate battle. If she had won that battle, it would have won the war. So basically, and she, as a result of that battle, she came back in a coma. So they're
right,
taking her mind and are trying to perfect it so that she becomes the ultimate warrior. They keep running her through this simulation to get her to actually win that battle
right.
finally, and they think that would make her overcome everything and become the ultimate warrior.
Yep.
And so they could reproduce her as these robots, and send her out and and win the war basically. So yeah, that's the basic premise, which is very interesting. Definitely high concept sci-fi. And
Very.
just a slight spoiler at the beginning of the movie. You start out seeing this woman doing her badass stuff, but it turns
Mhm.
out that that's just one of the runs of the AI simulation.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't know much about the movie.
Neither
I
did
just
I.
knew it had something to do with AI. So I thought it was going to be more of an action movie than it was. There's definitely action at the beginning and the end of the movie,
Right.
definitely at the end. But it becomes more of a uh thoughtful sci-fi movie where you're uh being introduced to various concepts within in moral conundrums that get wrapped up into AI, which is very topical right now,
Right.
especially with the AI art and AI learning with the
Chat.
Seinfeld AI
Yeah.
and whatnot.
The chat, the variations of permutations of the Chat GPT by OpenAI. Yeah. This one kind of asks you to kind of question what humanity is, I guess.
Hmm.
And I kind of came in this blind as well. Kind of rolled in, and then you kind of figure out, okay, it's mom. And then the mom made a deal with the corporation, and that's kind of heavily implied that maybe it was more coerced than not.
Hmm.
A lot of this stuff is it has a very grimy kind of feeling of like, even if you say yes, you're not really given a choice per se. But
Right.
basically, she did this to save her daughter's life, and then turn around, and then her daughter ended up working on the AI because the mom passed
Yep.
away. No, that's not really a spoiler alert. That's just
No,
you know,
she's in a coma.
well,
It is
right. Well,
right.
they say
Yeah.
coma, but they
Yeah.
they had to do basically a brain dump. And when they
Hmm.
do that, there's just no way for that brain
Hmm.
to go back in a biological body. It's just not happening.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
kind of this kind of sort of sets the rules for the thing. But anyway,
Yeah.
so her daughter is on the 17th or 18th or 19th revision of this AI, and the chairman of the company, he's kind of this awkward, weird kind of dude that
Hmm.
you kind of you just don't like right off the bat. And
Well,
you
not
kind of
not.
see him.
Yeah. Oh, you talk about the director and
Right, the
the
director,
facility. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
the guy the big boss guy who's
Yeah.
directing, orchestrating all this,
Uh-huh.
and kind of
Mhm.
giving her a choice. Well, anyway, the daughter has a horrible disease, like a life-ending disease, and that's it. And if you want
Mhm.
another treatment or you want another way to do this, you have to kind of basically do what she did with what her mom did, which was
Mhm.
become an robot AI,
Yeah.
transfer her brain.
There's
There's a little bit more to it than that too, but
Yeah, there's like a three-tier thing with the the AI. Like the top tier is if you have a bunch of money, you could replicate yourself basically in a
Free will.
perfect robot with everything and lifetime guarantee and everything. So that's the best case scenario. Where and then there's tier 2, which is less expensive, but you have all these um if ands or buts. You're not
Right.
treated like a complete human. You have to make these allowances and kind of second class citizen basically. And then the third, which is obviously the low class, is that's free. You the C class, you are put into AI, your consciousness, but you have no control. You
For kitty.
sign over the rights to your AI intelligence, and the government can do whatever they want with your AI, which is basically
Right.
what happens uh, to this hero, this Young-E. She signed over on the C level tier, so they can basically do whatever they want with her AI.
Right.
So it's basically monetizing humans and their minds, which, if this movie came out 20, 30, 40 years ago, this has been wild. This has been crazy. People be
Right.
like, there's just no way that that would happen in real life. And but today it's it really makes sense that, if technology comes up to this level, that this would be an option, because we are already being monetized by our likes and dislikes
Right.
on Facebook, on search engines. They're mapping us out. They're using us as resources to fine tune how they monetize selling to us. So making us a commodity is already in the process, and just as a natural extension of that, I think.
Yeah, you are the product. Essentially,
Mhm.
every aspect of life they try to. Anyway, yeah, your personal details in life. This is just kind of even more. It kind of really questions like, well, what's the point if you're going to be replicated? And it kind of takes your exit. So at the top tier, you have full awareness and willpower and sentience, I guess. And as you go kind of through the meat grinder that is the lower tier, it's kind of put out that like you're basically you could be a toaster.
Yeah, yeah,
You
basically.
could
Yeah.
be a really smart toaster.
Uh-huh.
So it kind of in another aspect of it, it's kind of like another layer of hell, or what hell
Hmm.
could be like. If
Hmm.
you're existing, but you're existing in millions of devices or whatever. Like, I mean, that just like it
Yeah.
bugs. Yeah, this one, it covered some interesting aspects of it, like more on the Google
Hmm.
side of the house, I think, or Big Corp, Omnicorp is what the Onion would call it.
Hmm.
Uh, or even what's the one in RoboCop? I can't think of it.
Oh yeah, I forget. Yeah.
Right, but it's kind of like it kind of has like that
Yeah.
dystopian taste of it, kind of like
Hmm.
RoboCop did, like the original RoboCop, the '80s one.
Hmm.
That is just like it's just dark and just grimy things.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Um,
definitely had a kind of like a throwback feel, kind of that old school sci-fi feel of the 80s and 90s. Definitely. And this is a South Korean movie.
yep,
They have a slightly different sensibilities, obviously, since they're from a different culture.
sure,
And I from the movies that this director has directed and written, they have a strong sense of family and the family dynamic, and the struggles that families have. And I think a lot of the stuff I've seen from South Korea has that strong family base, which is obviously from their culture.
yep,
And it may also be this just the particular, because I haven't seen a whole lot of South Korean movies and television, but from what I've seen, that there's like that strong family base, and I'd assume that's probably true for a lot of their stuff.
yeah. That's true in some of the manga and anime and other Eastern things like that, Eastern genres. like where there's the that reflects their culture and their beliefs, you know, like reincarnation, some things like that.
Oh yeah.
There are aspects that this kind of touches on too, if you want to be, you know, highbrow about it and call it all the concepts. But
Yeah.
it was engaging.
Hmm.
I probably won't be back anytime soon. But I
Hmm.
definitely would want to maybe explore maybe a little bit more for the director if they do
Yeah.
anything more. But that's
Well,
really dependent on Netflix and what they're
yeah.
cancel or not.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was looking at the director. I still think his first movie, Train. Well, I don't think it's his first movie, but his first major hit movie, Train to Busan, was and still is my favorite of his. It's really good, guttural kind of zombie movie with a very strong family base. And then
I'd
and this
want to see
movie's
that.
pretty good. Yeah, and then he did do a sequel called Peninsula. I haven't seen it because it got so many bad reviews from people that love Train to Busan. So I was kind of off put, but then I of maybe his future stuff. But then I heard that this was good, so that's why I threw that into the ring. But in looking at his stuff, he does have a television show on Netflix called Hellbound that
Hmm.
looked kind of interesting as well. So I might try that out at some point. It's like a 6 episode series. But yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
I want to see that zombie one because you, well,
mhm,
mainly because if you've seen it and it's good, that would be
mhm,
very, very cool to experience because
yeah.
I think that I think that there's a lot that works for this. There's some that
Yeah.
doesn't. And I think that maybe that the train to Busan would work a little bit better for that than this one did. Maybe I don't
Mhm,
know that for sure,
mhm.
but that's kind of my impression. And there's nothing wrong with this one either.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
it's engaging. Like I said, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's like a solid hit,
yeah.
but it definitely has aspects that make you question and be like, oh, kind of push you
Mhm.
on the track of like, I don't like that would suck.
Yeah.
Like that existence, like would you want that? What would that be? You know, because they do this pretty frequently. The director ends up being one of them as well.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I should say that, but that's not really kind of I kind of got that impression of him anyway,
Hmm.
to be
Yeah.
honest with you, like right
You
off the
knew
bat.
something
Like,
was off with him.
yeah, it was kind of like it kind of seemed like for me, like when the first scene where you see the director and you kind of he's orchestrating this work thing or
Hmm.
whatever, and there are
Yep.
other humans, presumably there are humans around him that are
Hmm.
taking his orders, and he's just like he just kind of has this uncanny feel of like, come on guys, let's go. Like he kind of does this like BS
Hmm.
motivational thing or like pep talk, and
Yeah.
it's just like they weren't having it. Nobody in the room was having it, and you could kind of, and I think they did that on purpose so you could kind of see there's something off here with this particular thing. And then
Hmm.
he just keeps connecting with awkwardness over and over and over again
Yeah.
throughout the movie. And
Yeah.
it's like comic relief a little bit.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or cringe, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
interesting
And
for sure.
most, I noticed in most Asian things, even in their most serious stuff, they usually have some character that's quite comedic, that kind of just kind
Mm,
of lightens the mood every now and then. And that character, the director, is my favorite character in the movie. He's just so off the wall and oddball that I always love those type characters. So obviously he kind of grew on me, the whole thing where, yeah, he's very um manic and kind of tells everybody what to do, and yeah,
right.
he needs that control. But then then when he gets ready to do the presentation, he loses all control and has no word. He can't think of words to say to the his superiors, that once he's in the view of leadership that he sees as above him, he kind of breaks and doesn't know how to react to them, and he tries to pal around with them, but obviously
Mm.
he's so awkward and weird with them that that they get they're like, get away from me. But yeah, but he kind of offsets uh the basically the lead in the movie, which is the big hero's daughter.
Hmm.
Now this takes place 30 years after the initial battle. So when last she'd seen her mother alive, she was a small child. So now she's an adult, and she's working in this AI with her mother's
Right.
AI to try to perfect this warrior, which obviously makes me think, would this actually have happened? Because that the whole thing about having your uh having someone of your family working on the computer AI of a family member would probably throw off red flags for a company.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but
Right. Yeah. And they actually make a point of saying, well, so and so corporation or state or government, whatever you want to call it, the alliance, whatever, got permission from her
yeah.
family and her, like
Yeah.
they just kind of course, if they say that, then it's probably not true. Or it was given under duress or something,
Well,
something
you
crazy
see
or
that
something.
scene where where the company people are coming to the grandmother, the mother of the
Mm,
hero, saying,
that's right. Yeah, I
yeah,
guess
and
so.
it's good, put your palm on the pad and give permission. So yeah, while she's crying hysterically, she gives the permission. And that's the thing that they keep going back to. Well, she gave permission,
Right.
but
Right.
yeah. So which the daughter was okay with when she was trying to perfect her as a warrior. But um there's a change in the movie where their focus goes away from maybe military to more of a commercial aspect of using her mother and using her for other things. And she realizes what her mother has actually sold, and what she uh what the conundrum of not having control of yourself once you become a commodity.
Right.
A soulless corporation doesn't care about your fifis, your feelings. So
Mm.
they you're now something they can put you in a rice cooker if they want, as they
Right. Yeah.
mentioned in the movie.
Yeah. But yeah. And it's implied that, that you could come back as an adult toy, I'll put it that way,
uh,
or appliance, a toaster,
yeah.
a rice cooker, whatever. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like that's like, I'm good.
Yeah.
I think I'll take eternal darkness over
Yeah.
over being squashed down into
Yeah.
some like millions of it. That sounds like a fresh version of hell, in my opinion.
Right.
But like, no thank you. But no, it does it but that's like kind of like where it goes. Like I was like looking at the review here, and I think it said like 5.4. I I'm on the fence about that one. I don't think it was a stinker like that. Like I
Right.
said,
Yeah.
like I think maybe, maybe a little, this is probably not too far off from like reality. But it kind of, I guess it kind of depends on where you're going in with it.
Yeah.
Are you, or do you into sci-fi? It's very interesting. I
Mhm.
kind of wish they would have explored the world a little bit more, because it's kind of just like, it really is immaterial to the story.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there was a big war long ago, then you find out that there's a peace treaty and all this. And then you kind of just get done to we're not going to spoil it, but you get down to the very end, and you're kind of left with some open-ended questions a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
um
There.
but but before they take that away, or before they give that to you, they kind of like, they keep talking about these two aspects of the mother's character, of about how they have to keep erasing some of her memories, or they're not quite sure if they're there or not, whatever.
Yeah.
And that memories are the ones of her personal life, of her and
Mhm.
her daughter, that sort of thing. And there's kind of implied, by one of her, the daughter, the chief scientist, like her, it's kind of implied that she has that guy that was like, she confided in a little bit, and he goes, well, why don't you just ask the AI? And it kind
Yeah.
of like, she's like, I didn't think about that. But
Yeah.
it kind of sets up the breach, from
Mhm.
her perspective, of how that
Yeah.
break from like what she's doing, and it starts in motion a trail, that ultimately ends where it does.
Mhm.
But in a way of like you kind of come to realization of like they do different kind of ethics tests. I guess it's kind of their way
Mhm.
of seeing if the
Yeah.
machine is. It's kind of like in a way, it's kind of like Blade Runner esque.
Mhm.
Are you a But in Blade Runner, they're looking for the
Mhm.
replicant. This one, the other way around. They want to make sure that the replicant or the AI, the android, is like still playing ball, so to speak.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was
And
interesting.
yeah, yeah. The movie, its strong suits is its concepts and ideas and the as far as like the execution, as far as say um the emotions and whatnot. At points the hits dead on, but at other times it's a little off. Like the daughter,
Right.
I like how they had the manic over the top director and then the daughter, the scientist, she's very scientific and very subtle. And I think you watched the dub version like I did with the uh the American
I did.
yeah. Instead of I'm kind of curious to see how it would play if I'd listened to the original Korean uh audio as opposed to the dubbed American version, because the voice actress for the daughter was very understated, and at times I had to get used to the her voice because it it wasn't very good. So
No,
I
it
think
it kind of left it for me. Um, I understood the mom character. Of course you do, because it's easy, because it's like right in front of your face. With the action and stuff, you see you kind of fall into this kind of cool little sequence. But the daughter was like very and the actress played her very well,
yeah,
as far as I could tell from the
yeah.
dubbing. But she kind of has this like bowl cut going thing on, and it just kind of reminds you of like kind of very bland, very
Yeah.
just not really kind of. I mean, she's expressive, but not really. It's kind of,
Yeah.
it's almost like she's already it's almost like, and she's human. Like it's very well defined that
Yeah, she is
that
human.
she
Yeah.
is in fact human, because that's her choice that she has to do or figure out later on.
Yeah.
But it kind of ties into the whole like trap that her mom is in. But it was good. Like I said, like I probably won't be back anytime soon. I would definitely what I did like enough to entertain other films from this director, because I'm very curious to see how this could work. And I think that Busan is the ticket, or the
Yeah.
ticket is the train
Yeah.
to Busan,
Yeah,
perhaps.
almost paired this one with Train to Busan, but yeah, I thought maybe Train to Busan would be good by itself, and it would be a bit of a contrast between the two. Yeah, the scientist lady, the daughter, she's sort of like the character that would have been in say a sci-fi movie. She would be the scientist in the background.
Right.
It's interesting that they they put that character in the forefront as the one of the main characters in this picture. She is in a way the main character, the hero mother figure is you would normally see her as the main character in this, but she's more of a secondary character as the daughter struggles with how to handle her life and her mother's life now that it's
Right.
an AI. And so yeah, the she's very understated. Her her tone is always monotone,
Right.
and she it's
That's true.
hard to read the emotions on her face. So
Right.
so yeah, that's the barrier of the movie. I know what the director was going for. He was since she was very stoic, you kind of have to add in your emotions to the situation and explore your emotions as opposed to experiencing her emotions. But then the payoff towards the end, as far as what happens at the end, they aren't fully paid off because you were kind of going on this journey by yourself and not really with her. So her decisions that she makes towards the end of the movie, you're in some ways detached from them because you weren't really that involved with her
Right.
to begin with. So I was highly involved with the director, the manic director that was
Mm,
kind of off-putting. You knew more about his emotional state and understood him completely, understood how his mind worked,
right.
even though it was a little deranged, as opposed to the main character daughter, because she was so stoic and so hard to look into.
Very
And that's
straight laced. Yeah.
obviously a choice by the director of how to play that, but I don't think it played off as well as it should have. Now, also, we've been spoiled. There's nothing wrong with the special effects in this movie.
No, not at
They're
all.
completely
Not at all.
serviceable, but they're not the same level as, say, a Marvel tier movie.
No.
And I think we've been spoiled by that. So when you see this movie, you get this kind of a cheapness vibe to it, just solely because we're used to, even with a television show, of having the special effects being so good, theatrical quality, that when we see a movie, at least for me, I see a movie like this, it almost comes off a little cheaply, which is not a ding against the movie, but
No.
I think it's a ding against our expectations of a movie.
I was and just kind of nerding out a little bit. I was not taken out of the film in any way with the effects, with their version of what a killer Terminator robot would look like, so to speak.
Hmm.
Some were actually kind of cool. We didn't really innovate too much in that space, but I mean, what could be said? We've had Skynet for forever, dropping on our heads, and that's absolutely been reheated and roasted and reheated again, and very very poor leftovers of the last few iterations of it, in my opinion. But not this one was a little bit different. It took to task what it means to be human, and what does that mean? Is it in the, especially like you're saying, the backdrop of a familial connection, like the way that
Hmm.
they view that over there, because there is ties and obligations that just aren't there in our culture, or
Hmm.
there are ties and ties that bind in certain ways, but
Hmm.
not like we have just different aspects of value.
Right.
And I think maybe 30, 40, 50, 60 years ago, we our society would have been a little bit more in line with where they're at, as far as like, your folks get old, then you're first,
Hmm.
your parents take care of you, and then you take care of your parents, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
That's not really, I mean, it kind of is, but it's not like it was. Yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
this, I liked it, like you said. Like, I liked it enough to give it another shot with the director, the
Mhm,
actual director of the film. I
mhm,
think that would be interesting to see this in a different
mhm,
genre. I think it would work a lot better. With the problem that I had, if anything, was getting connecting with the main character, with the daughter. Like,
yeah,
it was a
yeah, I
little
think.
bit too straight laced for me, a little bit too
Mhm,
Vulcan. Um,
uh-huh.
and that was my
Yeah.
impression, but that would just made it harder for me to kind of glue. I agree with
Mhm,
you that now that you say that, it's almost like she was no emotion,
mhm.
and the director was like all the emotion,
Right, yeah, yeah,
which is kind of
exactly.
funny.
Yeah, she's
And
she's sort of like, the tabla rasa, the concept of a blank slate. To a certain extent, you get her emotions through the external stimuli, because she does go to a doctor that tells her that her cancer has come back, and
right,
that she has those three options as far as AI, if she wants to prolong her life through artificial means. And that was a very telling scene, because you have this seemed like uh this doctor that does have emotions, that is being sympathetic with her, but is also being cold as far as her options. And but it's sort of, you're coming to terms with, okay, this is a future, and this is how you would probably interact with the doctor in the future in this futuristic world. But you're seeing this as a real doctor that's doing that. The
Right.
cool thing about the scene is when it ends, you realize he's a robot as well, and he gets he gets turned off after she leaves and gets pushed into the cupboard. He's
Right.
only his body's only half of him. He's the from the desk up. He's you know, kind of filled out as a human, but the other half is missing, and he just yeah, gets
Yeah.
shuttled off into the corner. And he's more human than she is in that scene, because he's telling her all these things, and instead of breaking down and crying or having this very visceral reaction to
Right.
finding out that, oh, I've got, you know, this, you know, stage 4 cancer, and that there's no hope for me.
Right.
You know, he's the more emotional one, and he turns out to be the robot, and she's the human that's processing this, but she's in this very emotional detached state, which is, I guess, also ties into, I guess, how she coped with her mom coming back from the war in a coma. She's kind
Right.
of shut down all of her emotions, and she's become more robotic than even the robots, which is an interesting concept that the director was kind of trying to push forth to her. Like, even the most human of the characters in the movie, the director was a robot as well. So and then she's like this blank slate that we normally see as a robot, you know, having the empty eyes, and you know, being very robotic.
Yeah.
She's the robot, but
Yeah, if it, like there was like a comment there that I was kind of sort of reading when you were we were expounding on your thoughts, and the comment was something about like, there's, why are you doing comedy? Either do one super serious or not. I actually disagree with that comment.
oh yeah, absolutely.
I know exactly what they were doing and going for,
Mhm.
and if anything, there's maybe a missed opportunity there to really explore, not fully, because this isn't the movie for that, but fully, like, to understand what a fresh hell that would be. Literally, you only become conscious when you are called into service, and it's never for your wants or needs or anything, or your will. It's at the service or needs of another human, and it gives it a very dark, undertone that could have maybe been explored a little bit more, that you kind of sort of get in Hellraiser a little bit, like with the kind of, not really, but just the, I don't know why I thought of that, but I'm sure, like, when we're all, when we get done recording, the thought will hit me, why I would draw those things. But yeah, I just, like I said, it's about a 5, maybe a 6 if you're a big
I'd
fan.
put it more of a 6, maybe 6.5. It's a decent movie. And it doesn't wear out its welcome. Most movie, I'm probably going to go on a little bit of a
I felt engaged.
soapbox rant on our grab bag, which is going to be out later this week. That you can catch. That we do every week. But yeah, the movies are getting bigger and bigger, longer and longer. And this movie's only an hour and 40 minutes. You can get in and out. And so yeah, if you're don't have anything to on your slate on as far as what you want to watch, you don't want to dive into 10 episode series, you want to just watch some kind of light sci-fi, this is pretty good. If you like Black Mirror, that sort of plays with those technological questions that show does. So
Right.
this is an engaging movie that I can see where someone would get a lot out of it. It also with all good sci-fis, it throws at you concepts and ideas that you then can think about for a day or two, and come up spin it off into, if you're a creative person, you can kind of start playing with it, and coming up with your own kind of sci-fi ideas based off of that. But yeah, it's very interesting. I don't know. Yeah, it kind of sets it up for maybe a sequel. I don't know if I would be there for the sequel. I think it kind of covered
I
everything that I'd want it to.
Yeah, I
For
felt
that
like it
movie.
ran the course for me. I would not be showing up for a sequel. Me personally, like you were saying, I wouldn't. But I mean, I would if there was something compelling there. But I'd probably leave it be, um, and go that way.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. Again, we're the first to last, the Nerdum. We do our main podcast where we spotlight a movie or a series or just a one idea or one director or so it's our focus podcast, and then we have a grab bag where we talk about a little bit of everything. We talk about comic news, we talk about internet news, just anything that we find interesting. We did a big gaming episode
We
last
did.
week where we talked about Hogwarts, and we talked about the joys of current generation systems and the fun of getting it back into retro gaming that Mike did with the PS2 and the PS3. So yeah, we tried to cover a little bit of all what's under the umbrella of nerddom, which could be all sorts of things. I mean, the people that are into motorcycles nerd out of,
Right.
don't normally think of motorcycle guys as nerds, but you could apply that concept to them as well. I mean, they kind of geek out or nerd out over all of that
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
so yeah, and we're interested in all forms of nerdom. So yeah, if you're into something weird or interesting, give us a comment and let us know what you're into. Keep it family oriented though.
Yeah. It has to be nice, or you don't have to necessarily be nice per se or kind,
Right.
but you just a golden rule, as it would apply. But in any case, I would say, uh, we're always looking. Hey, maybe somebody out there has seen a better version of this concept. Maybe done better, or done a slightly different way, that is not Netflix oriented,
Mhm.
and a little bit more, maybe a little bit tougher to find. Where you're not going to find a dubbed version, you're going to be
Mhm.
reading captions, which is fine. It would be
Mhm.
interesting to, like, maybe go back and start the movie again and just read the captions and see if there's a difference, because there can be a substantial difference between
Mhm.
that, what you're getting, and what you're hearing. Sometimes, like, they're just terrible with the dubbing, and
Mhm.
sometimes the other way around, like the captions are just horrible. But
Mhm.
it would be interesting to see. But yeah, like you were
Yeah, it
saying,
does.
the
It can
plug.
can definitely change a movie.
Yeah, plug
Um,
it.
mhm.
Yeah, like as you were saying, plug in our show.
Mhm.
We're Mike and Thomas, and we
Mhm.
cover the nerddom. I'm really interested to get into the grab bag this week.
Yep.
And this, I guess, to kind of sum up with this film, it kind of, so I've been going through, how's a positive way to put this? I've been going through a lot of the bargain basement sort of sci-fi novels on Audible. I've ran through a lot of, I'm not going to say they're low quality, but they're not, maybe at best they might be mid-tier quality as far as
Mhm.
it goes. Where they kind of touch greatness or touch goodness with a little one or two stories or
Mhm.
books. But it's very much, you're very much down in the valley for a little bit.
Yeah.
This kind of goes along the lines of that. It's not saying it's terrible, just saying that the quality there is there. But yeah, this is tell us what you think. Like Thomas was saying,
Mhm.
leave us a comment. Constructive criticism. I would be really cool to hear back from our audience to see if there's something else out there that's sci-fi, AI ish related,
Mhm.
maybe done a little bit different way, that we could maybe look into. But with that
Mhm.
being said, I think there's not much more to say. I
Mhm.
think we covered all the high points.
Yep.
I'd still, I'd still say go and check it out. I would say I can't really recommend it per se.
Mhm.
I would probably go with your recommendation of, like, if this is your first bit with this director, Sang Ho Yeon.
Mhm.
I would say probably go with the Train to Busan one first, if you want to do that, and then that one, I absolutely agree with you. We're gonna have to do a show on that one, and
Mhm.
give it the full attention, because I have a feeling that it would be very, very good,
Yeah.
compared to this anyway.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Yep. Yep.
Cool, cool. All right. Well, I've been Mike,
And I'm Thomas. And
and
there's nothing artificial about us.
no, sir. We'll see you next week.
See ya.